Hello everybody. Hopefully some people will be joining me. Let me just refresh my page, make sure I'm in the right place. Yes, brilliant. Okay. Oh. Yep, that's good. Just turn off my sound and hopefully somebody will come and join me soon. Ah, here we go. Fabulous. If you're joining me then live, then please do put something in the comments so I know. Hello Helen, lovely to see you. Yeah, so if you're joining me, then do say hi in the chat so that I know that you're here, because that's always nice to know who I'm talking to. There we go, that's better. Okay, is it going to do the same as last week? No, at the moment it's still, I have my iPad in front of me so that I can see the comments and see what's going on all the time, and sometimes it plays the game and sometimes it doesn't want to, so hopefully it will. So last week it just kept stopping and starting, it was all over the place and really annoying. Anyway, okay, so hello. If you're joining me live, like I say, then do please say hi in the chat. If you're joining me on the replay, stick replay in there so that I know who's watched afterwards as well. That'd be great. And if you're going to craft along with me tonight, then this is what we're making. And I will show you that in more detail in a minute. It's a fancy fold. And if you want to gather supplies to craft along with me, then you are going to need a sheet of coloured A4 cardstock. I'm going to read this off the list, so I'm going to keep looking down. You're going to need one standard white inside, so that you've got something to write on inside your coloured card. So that measures 14.3 by 9.9. But if you're gathering stuff together now, don't worry too much about the measurements, because I'll repeat those as we go along. You need a sheet of 6 by 6 inch patterned papers, or several smaller bits that you can use for the various different squares and things and rectangles that we're going to be covering. And you will need a scoreboard and a bone folder. That's very important because we have got some scoring to do, and you do need to bone fold your creases really well. And what else do we need? And you need obviously any kind of decoration, bling, either a stamp set or a punch or a die or whatever it is, a topper, whatever it is you're going to use to go over the top. So yeah, that would be great. Okie dokie, we'll give it a couple more minutes and see if anyone else is joining me, because I thought there was 3 or 4 people this morning who said they were going to come. So I'll have a slurp of my tea in my snowman mug. It's still really snowy here. I don't know what it's like where anybody else is, but it's still really frosty and snowy here, so snowman seems appropriate. It's been a very trying day here today because my tumble dryer broke this morning, and you would not believe the difficulty. Oh, hi Mum. You would not believe the difficulty that I have had literally all day today, and I still haven't got it sorted, just to get a tumble dryer engineer to come and just come and look at the thing and see what needs mending. I've got it on a contract, so I'm hoping that it won't be too much of a hassle once they've worked out what's wrong with it. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But what a nightmare trying to get somebody here. Now that everybody works at home, you have to go on live chat to book any appointment at all. And oh, it's been an absolute pain in the neck. I've just been put on hold I don't know how many times. Then eventually by 4 o'clock I'd managed to get an appointment, or so I thought, and they said we'll send you a text to confirm it. 4:30 I had a text saying we're cancelling your appointment on Monday. Just I want someone to fix my tumble dryer. So yeah, very challenging, let's just say that. Okie dokie. Well, small in number to start with, but I think we'll crack on anyway. So I'm not too worried about not being too many people here, because I'm quite sure that people will be joining us as time goes on. So I'm going to turn the camera around and then you'll be able to see the card. and you'll be able to see what I'm doing as well. And I'll give you all the measurements and instructions as we're going along, okay? Right, let's turn that round. And I want my scoreboard over here as well. Okay, let's start by getting it in shot a bit better. Move things up and out the way a bit. So you can see the card. Oh, let's have the light pointing down on the card would be quite handy too, wouldn't it? There we go. That's better. Okay. So this is the card that we're going to make, and we're hopefully going to make a much sharper version than the one that I've done as my sample. But as you can see, it folds down into a standard European size card. Oh, hi Marion. Oh, I'm glad you can join us. So yeah, it does fold down into a standard size card, and then when you pull it open, you've got a lovely big area to write your message on. So and it's pretty clever because it's a universal card. I mean, you could do any design on this card. It's not specific to Christmas, but obviously as it is Christmas and we might be looking for a few mini makes that are for special people, then I thought I would do this one as my little Robin friend and a Christmas wishes card. So what you are going to need to begin with, measurements are up here on my piece of paper, is your sheet of coloured cardstock, and you need to cut it to 17.5 centimetres by 22 centimetres. So I'm going to get my scoreboard in there. And you will need the big arm out the side if you're using a Stampin' Up one. Let's see, the top of the card. Yeah, and we're going to cut it to 17.5 by 22. So I'm going to go 17.5 along the short edge, which just comes over into the little extender arm. So 17.5. Get rid of that. For a change, you don't need to keep the scraps on this one. And then we want to cut it at 22, so all the way over there at 22. And again, you can get rid of the scraps. And then you can fold the little side arm down as well, because you don't need the side arm anymore. And then what I would do, this is a top tip, is get rid of your cutting blade so that you don't accidentally cut instead of scoring, because that's what you're going to do next, is scoring. So for those of you who are making as we go along, I will do a little bit of pausing as we're going along to make sure that people are keeping up. So when you have cut your card to 17.5 by 22, give me some thumbs up so that I know that I can go on to the next step. So I don't really want to go on without everybody kind of being with me. So if you're making, or you can let me know if you're making as we go along as well. If you're crafting tonight, then do let me know. There's only 3 scores in this card as well, so it's nice and easy. So you're starting with a standard piece of A4 and you're cutting it to 17.5 centimetres by 22 centimetres. Not seeing any thumbs up yet, so we'll hang on for a moment, or either that or nobody is crafting along, they're going to watch and do it later maybe. Thank you, Mum. Mum's crafting along. Good, good. And she's got some thumbs up. Fabulous. Right, okay. So with the shorter side at the top of your scoreboard, you need to score at 7 centimetres all the way down. Okay, so the shorter side at the top, 7 centimetres all the way down. And then you're going to turn it around so that you've got the long side at the top, but so that your score line is at the bottom, in the bottom kind of 2/3 or bottom 2/3 of your card. You don't want the score line you've already made to be at the top, because you want to create a square in this bottom left hand corner for this size. Now, if you're doing this repeatedly, if you have a go at this on other card designs, then just have an experimentation with scoring in different places, because you can make this card the other way round as well. So we're making a portrait card, but you can make it landscape as well, and that just depends on where you put your score lines. But it's 7 centimeters again. So, and then once you've done those two score lines, you will have like a cross in this top left corner and a square, a 7 centimeter square, kind of boundaried by your score lines in this top left hand corner. Okay, and that's the bit that's going to fold over. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the scoreboard, because we have got one more fold to do, but we're going to do that last fold by looking at the lines of the score. So what you want to do next is get your bone folder, and you're going to crease those folds. So you're folding in towards the base of the card. So we're going over and creasing it. Nice strong creases you need for this as well, and over into the middle, and nice strong crease again. Okay, I'm going to wait to make sure that everyone has caught up before I do the next bit, because the next bit needs a little bit of explanation before you try and fold it over. Okay, so if you've got to this point where you've scored 7 centimeters in and 7 centimeters down, and you've got your cross in the corner and your 7 centimeter box in the corner, your square, then give me some thumbs up so that I know that you're at the same point as me, and then I will show you the clever foldy bit. The brilliant thing about this card as well is that honestly, it really actually doesn't take that long to make, because once you've got the hang of the score lines, if you've got all your other bits and pieces cut out, then it's just decorating really, the base doesn't take very long. Okay, so we're then going to take this top left corner and we're going to fold it over into the centre of the card, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to line up this score line with this score line. So as you fold it over, this score line here is going to run along that score line, and this score line here is going to run along there. So I'll show you what I mean first. So you're going to fold it over, and as you curl it over, look, you can see the score lines on the back of the card. Let me just wait for the camera to catch up with me so that I can make sure that you can see what I can see. Yeah, there you go. So you can see those score lines, okay? So you were going to put them down onto the card so that they match their corresponding score line underneath, and so that you make sure that you are right in the corner, obviously, of that card as well, so that you're creating that diagonal there. Okay, and so that those score lines match up. So you'll know you've got it right in the corner because your score lines will touch. And when you've got that, give it a really good crease. Don't be tempted to move it until you've creased it, okay? There we go. So you've got the back of the score line is level with this, the underneath of the score line. It's the same score line actually, you're just folding it over. And the same here, the back of that score line is level with this tram line underneath. And then when you've done that, you're actually going to fold it back on itself because you want these creases to be going in the opposite way actually. So crease them again, nice and sharp creases, but just crease them across the back, okay? And then what you'll find is that they pop in Oh, look, and there you go. And you've got your lovely square. And you can press those score lines down again if you want to and get that. So then you've got your pop-up bit. Don't worry too much. As you can see, I've almost creased this corner a little bit, but you're going to cover that in patterned paper, so it doesn't matter. It will all be beautiful and covered up. Okay. So I'll hang on a second while you just do that bit. So we go over that again. So you had your 2 score lines, and you're going to bring this corner, the top left corner, over so that those score lines there meet their corresponding score lines underneath. So you're bringing it over so that the back of the score line is on top of the underneath one, and the back of that score line is underneath. And then you're going to crease it on the opposite side so that you get that lovely corner effect. Okay, give me some thumbs up when you've got to that point. And then we're going to look at putting on our patterned papers and things, which is quite exciting. And I might have to measure the patterned papers, I think, on the other one, just to make sure that I've got the right measurements. So, but do give me some thumbs up when you've got to that point. Now I tend to, with my patterned papers, if I'm working in centimetres, I take off about 6 millimetres from my original measurements so that I get a nice border around the edge of my patterned papers. Some people take off 0.5 centimetre, but for my eye, it just doesn't seem quite enough. So I tend to take off, like I say, I tend to take off about 6 millimetres. So you're going to need 3 bits of patterned paper, 1 for this corner square, and then you're going to need 1 for this bit and to poke underneath, and 1 for this bottom bit and to poke underneath if you want to. I mean, the card is going to be flat like that when it goes in the envelope, so you don't have to go underneath and cover those triangles if you don't want to. But what I would suggest is that you start by just cutting strips first, and then you can decide what you want to do. So if you think that that square is a 7 centimetre square, then I'm going to go for 6.4 centimetres to start with as my first. Let's get rid of the score tool a minute. So 6.4 centimetres square is my square of paper to cover that top corner square. Yeah. And then I'm actually going to turn it over because these are double-sided Stampin' Up papers. So I could use this one underneath there because it's the same width. And then what you can do, because you've got these lovely score lines, is you can open it out and you can mark on the paper where you want to trim so that you get that patterned paper actually fitting. And to be honest with you, I find this a lot easier to do than faffing about with measuring, you know, the angles and all that kind of stuff, because I'm not very good at angles. So I find it easier to literally mark where the score line comes out from underneath the paper. So literally on top of the score line. And then when I put it in my trimmer, I'm just going to trim just inside of that line. So I'm going to join those points up, but just going to trim just slightly inside. So you can hopefully see there, I've just gone slightly inside of the my pencil mark that I've made. And this is the piece then that I'm going to be able to stick down, and it fits perfectly underneath that square. So it's pretty easy. So it's 7 7 centimetres is the size of your card, so 6.4 is what you're looking for in terms of a depth. So I'm going to cut again, and again I'm going to use the spotty side, 6.4 again for the remaining piece. And that piece I want to go underneath there. Oops, underneath there, and I want that to fit. So again, what I'm going to do is just open the card out, lay that patterned paper right side up underneath, mark where the score line is, and then I'm going to cut inside the score line to make sure that I've got a piece that fits. So I'm just going just inside the score line. So you can see that there's the score, there's the marks from the score line, and I've just gone a few millimeters inside of that to create my patterned paper for underneath this flap, which again, look, as you can see, fits perfectly then. Okay, so let's get rid of the scoreboard because the trimmer, because we don't need that, and don't need any scraps of paper either. So let's stick the patterned paper down next. Let's get rid of all the pen and pencil and all that rubbish. Let's go for wet glue, I think, on this one. So we're sticking all of the patterned papers down just flat to the card because we're going to use them as the base for putting our decoration on top. We've got a really lovely sticky glue pot today because I've been doing some tags and stuff this afternoon ready for wrapping presents, and I ran out of wet glue halfway through my tags, so I was able to open a brand new one instead of, I've been, the last few weeks you probably noticed I've been tapping and shaking it like mad. So my top tip as well is each time you're about to put a piece of patterned paper down, just fold the card back again how you want it, you know, how it's going to look, so that you're making sure you're gluing the right surface of the paper, and you're going to stick your patterned paper in the right place as well, because I'm like dreadful at doing this, where I stick, you know, put the glue on the wrong side of the paper, and then it all goes a bit bonkers really. So just, well, that's where it's going to go. So I need to stick it down there. And this is the beauty of this card as well, is that because the score lines are really robust, you can just open it out and stick the papers nice and flat. You don't have to have it all, you know, you're not kind of trying to poke paper underneath 3D elements or whatever. It's not like you're sticking pattern paper inside a box or something like that, which I personally quite like. The fact that it's easy, stress-free at this time of the year is what we want, isn't it? Right, can I get this bit? I'm going to open that out so I get that in the right place as well. Stick that down. Got a bit of wet glue poking out, there we go. There we go, so that gives you your 3 bits of patterned paper, and then you've just got the insert, the white insert, to stick down as well. And the insert, and I'll say this again in a minute, but it measures 17.5 by, sorry, that was the whole overall card. Your insert measures 14.3 centimetres by 9.9. So it's a standard C6 size insert for a C6 envelope. So it's just your standard inside white layer, matte layer that you'd put inside a normal European size card, which is great because it means it goes into a normal C6 envelope, which is what you want. So just stick that one down. Yep, it's a bit wonky. Another reason for using wet glue, so you can get it to slide it around. There we go. There we go. And that's your layer for writing your message on, obviously. And then all you've got to do next is decorate. And this is the main feature square that you want to decorate up in that top left-hand corner there. Okay, so just pause a moment for people to catch up as well. So you are measuring a 7 centimetre square is this red, the cardstock. So you want a 6.4 centimetre by 6.4 centimetre square for this top corner. And then this width is also 6.4, and you're going to cut off the angle. And this width is 6.4, and you're going to cut off the angle so that you've got that patterned paper perfectly formed underneath. And then your white layer is 9.9 centimetres by 14.3 centimetres. Okay. Right then, I am going to make a little robin to go on mine. So I'm going to use some craft cardstock. Oh, hi Julie, hiya. That's all right, don't worry about being late. That's the great thing about it being on Facebook Live. You can rewind it at a later date and make it at your own pace, so don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to use the little birdie punch, sorry. Craft cardstock for the body, a little bit of So Saffron for the beak, and a bit of that offcut. I did lie, we did use a little bit of offcut, but I'm just going to tear a little bit of that offcut off to make the red breast for the robin. So I'm going to start by punching, sorry, this main body piece here out of craft. Get rid of all the bits. That's the only bit we need. Oh, and we get a wing out of it as well, so we'll keep that because we want a wing. We want our little robin to be able to fly. Let's have a little clear up of bits here a minute. I seem to be already creating quite a mess on the table. There we go. That's better. So we've got a little wing for the robin and their little body. And then this corner over here is the red breast. So we'll have that bit as well. Get rid of those bits we don't need. There we go. And then the little love heart in the corner is the beak on this punch. So we'll have a little beak as well. There we go. We can get rid of the punch, so we don't need that. And then it's just a case of constructing him. So this little bit on the top here is his kind of little bit of a haircut bit. And obviously his tail. So the first bit is to stick his red breast in the right place. And you just kind of line it up until the curves of the punched shapes kind of match, really. And again, you need a bit of wet glue on the back of this one. But I mean, you can decorate yours. Depends what colour papers and stuff you've used, because that's the other thing I should say, that none of my papers are actually Christmas papers, but I chose those because I thought that they're nice, you know, red and green, but just a slightly different tone of red and green. So I'm using Sweet Sorbet as my red, actually, not real red, Sweet Sorbet, and that's because I've got a lot of it and I wanted to use some of it up. The other thing that I'm going to do is, because I want the wing to kind of show a little bit, I'm just going to colour around the edge of the wing. And for that, I'm not going to use, hang on, let's get the right colour. Where is it? Let's see which one. I'm not going to use a dauber or anything like that, because I don't want to get any more ink out, because that's too much of a faff. I'm going to use a watercolour pencil instead, and literally just go round the edge. I'm not even colouring on top, I'm just colouring round the edge like you would if you're doing it with a dauber. Just to get a little bit, tiny bit of definition is all I want, so that the wing is visible. Because it's obviously the same craft cardstock as the body, I just want it to be visible when I stick it on, that's all. And I've got a cool little trick that can't deny it, Sally showed me how to do. So I will show you. It's going to make his wing stick up beautifully. There we go. So just a little bit of definition. You might not even be able to see that on camera, to be honest. Now, what I'm going to do is this neat little trick that Sally showed me. I am going to get a little tiny bit, I'm going to cut it off this side, little tiny bit of dimensional. Literally, look at that tiny, tiny little piece of dimensional. And it's already come unpeeled, so I might as well just unpeel it. And that little bit of dimensional, it's not even a whole mini dimensional, is going to go underneath the back of the tip of his wing. In fact, I'm even going to cut it smaller than that, because I literally just want the tip of his wing to be poking up. So I'm going to put it on the back, whoop, there, like that. Let's get rid of that bit, I don't want that bit. And then, if I can get it unstuck from my finger. And then I'm going to stick a little bit of glue on the actual main bit of wing. Here, this end. And that's the bit that's going to be stuck down first. Kind of where the wing is, which is sort of around here somewhere. And because I've put a bit of dimensional underneath, if I just hold it in place for a moment and just let it set. There we go, I think that's stuck now. You can see that the wing is now, because the dimensional is under this pointy end of the wing, it's just lifting the wing off of the bird so it looks a bit more 3D, that's all. Now the other thing I'm going to have to do, to get that pencil back again, is I'm going to need to mark his eye. So I'm going to give him a little beady eye up here. I'm just going to mark that with pen or pencil, and then the final bit is to stick his beak on. And the best thing to do is actually put the glue onto the bird, I find, and then put his beak on top. If you try to stick glue to the back of the beak, it's like nigh on impossible. So I'm just going to put it in place there, there we go. And there's my little robin. And then what I need to do is to create a little branch for him to sit on. So I'm going to open the card out flat. And actually, let me just have another check, make sure I've got, like I said before, make sure you've got the right bit that you're going to stamp on. So this is the bottom, so I'm going to hold on to that bit. That's the bottom of my pattern, of my piece of paper. So that's where I'm going to put my branch, and I'm going to use the Sweet Songbird stamp set that goes with the little robin punch. I'm just going to have that branch and just stamp that, and I'm stamping it in early espresso, so nice dark brown, just to give us a little branch for him to sit on. I've got lots of new ink pads at the moment, because I've had lots of half price opportunities lately. Let me just make sure I'm doing it the right way up. Yeah, that's there. And all my ink pads are super juicy at the moment, which is really nice. There we go. So stamp that one. And then I'll be able to sit him on the branch, look. So let's fold the card back up and then work out where I want him to go, which is going to be there. And because the card's 3D, I'm not going to add extra dimension, because then it'll be popping up all over the place. I want my robin to stick firm to the card. I don't want him jumping off the card, especially if I'm going to post him, because, although it's a bit late for Christmas posting now, but stick him down on the branch. Oops, there we go. Flat down on top of the branch. There we go. And then I need a sentiment. So I've already stamped a sentiment in craft cardstock using the Early Espresso. It's a Season's Greetings one, which is from the Holly, Boughs of Holly stamp set. So I am going to put some dimension behind that one because that's going to go on the base of the card, so that's okay. I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals for that. There we go. Stick that one down here. And then the only final thing to do is to add a little bit of bling. So because I've been using the In Colours papers with the Sweet Sorbet and the green colour from that as well, which I can't remember the name of right now, Parakeet Party, of course. How could I forget? I'm going to use the In Colour, the little In Colour enamel dots to go over the top. Decorative dots, they're called matte decorative dots. So I don't know, should we have the Sweet Sorbet as my dots? Yeah, because the other one was Parakeet Party dots, weren't they? So let's have Sweet Sorbet dots for a change. And I'm just going to spread them out over these two panels. So I'm still going with my old favourite of an odd number. Is that one actually stuck? Yeah, it is. But I'm going with 5 instead of 3 because I've got 2 panels to cover. And there we go. That is my little card. So, oh, what size is the white card, Mum? Okay, so the white card is 9.9 centimetres by 14.3 centimetres. Let me write it down on here. And that will be easy to see as well then. So it's 9.9 centimetres by 14.3 centimetres. And that is the white layer. Okay. And then patterned papers are 6.4 centimetres by 6.4 centimetres and 6.4 centimetres wide, and then you trim to suit. So there we go. That's the one I've made today, and that's the one that I did before. It's difficult because they spring up, look. Springy birds. Getting ready to fly away. What can I do to hold them down? I wonder if my bone folder will hold them down. But it won't. Oh no, might do. Yep, there we go. Oh, no. It's just not going to, is it? There we go, there's one. Just about. There we go. So you've got one with the white sentiment and one with the craft sentiment. But yeah, really nice, really easy. Clever little mini make, really, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the camera back around because I want to tell you about next week's mini make, which is slightly different. Let's turn that around. There we go. Hi. Okay, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Like I say, if you were making along, then do put a photograph of what you made in the comments. And if you are watching on the replay, then do put replay in the comments and then stick a photo of what you've made as well, because we love to see everybody's choice of papers and design and what image they're going to put on and everything. So yeah, do that. That'd be lovely. Okay. Next week's mini make is on Wednesday at 7 p.m. on here on Facebook Live, but hot off the press, next Wednesday is going to be mystery stamping evening. Woo! We did it last year and everybody loved it so much. I had so many comments back saying what fun it was that I thought, what the heck, let's do it again. So we're going to do mystery stamping, which is basically where I give you a set of measurements of what bits and pieces you need to prepare ahead. So it will be types of card, it will be how many pieces of pattern paper, and it will be the exact measurement you need to cut them to, as well as maybe a particular shape that you need to punch or die cut or freehand cut, and the dimensions of that, and then what kind of extra bits you need to add. And then without seeing what we're going to make, we will make up our mystery card. I'm just looking on my shelves behind me now. It's okay. I think my my head is in the way of the sample that I have made today to make sure that the measurements work. So that's cool. You can't see it. But it's loads of fun. You have to just go with it. And enjoy the process, I would say, rather than worrying about what the end result might look like. It will be a card that will look lovely at the end, no matter what patterns of paper and things you've used. Obviously, the best idea is to choose a coordinating suite of patterns, you know, colours, that kind of thing, really. But it doesn't matter if you don't want to make any more Christmas cards. You can make it as a birthday card. It absolutely doesn't matter. It's your choice. So if you're on the mailing list, i.e. you get my emails every Monday morning, you will get a list of instructions in that email on Monday morning, next Monday morning. So don't worry, you'll have a couple of days to get all the bits and pieces out. And it's nothing technical. It's stuff that you've got in your stash. Everybody's got in their stash bits of card and pattern paper to use up. So that'll be fine, you'll get that. If you are not on my mailing list, now's your chance to get on my mailing list, and then you'll get that on Monday morning. It's papercraftwithjenny.co.uk. So papercraftwithjenny, all one word, one sentence, no dots or anything in it anyway, .co.uk. And you can sign up, click the link on there for getting on my newsletter. The other thing that we're going to do, as well as mystery stamping, because I thought it would be nice to have a bit of a fun evening, providing there's hopefully a couple of people that will join me live, is we're going to do some stamping bingo as well. So Christmas bingo it is, not stamping bingo, it's Christmas bingo, but I have got stamping prizes for you. Yeah, there's instructions in the email on Monday as well about choosing your numbers for bingo. And yes, there will be real live actual Stampin' Up prizes to be won in the bingo. So I hope people will be able to join me for that. That'll be fun. Obviously, you can only join in the bingo if you join me live. So you need to be on there. You need to be in it to win it. That's what they say, isn't it? You need to be in it to win it. Okay, I'm going to love you and leave you. Hope you've had fun making the fun fold robin card tonight, or whatever type of card you've made. Love to see what you've made, so do stick photos in the comments, won't you? Other than that, keep up with the wrapping and the shopping and the card writing, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye!